How's it going, guys? We got another episode of Inside the Ice from Game Changer Sports Network. Today I'm going to be discussing my thoughts on the NHL so far. We've had a lot of news, a lot of big things happening recently, and honestly, this season has been pretty crazy. Um, a lot of what was expected has happened, a lot of what was not expected has happened. So, pretty much today, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go division by division and then a little bit of the different aspects of the game and where I feel the league is right now. Remember, this is Inside the Ice from Game Changer Sports Network. I'm going to be going live at least once a week moving forward with the latest news on the NHL and my thoughts. So here we go. Atlantic Division. We got Tampa Bay in number one with a record of 12-3-1, also leading the league in first place with 25 points. This is pretty expected. They have a goal differential of plus 17, which is second in the league to Nashville's plus 20. In their last 10 games, they've really found their way, and they are 8-2-0. This team I expect to make a deep run in the playoffs, as always. You got Stamkos, Kucherov, and then out back you got McDonough. Hedman, although he has missed the past few games, but if this team can get healthy and Vasilevsky can play, it's a very tough team for any team in the NHL to beat. Right behind them is Toronto at 10-5-0 with 20 points. They have won their last two games in a row despite missing Austin Matthews. This is huge. When I heard that Austin Matthews was going down for 4 weeks, I thought that was going to really hurt Toronto. However, 2 games played, they've won both. They're also 6-0 on the road. That's crucial. If you can go into other places, arenas, and win, that's huge. A little bit of a surprise is Montreal this year. They're 8-5-3, ahead of Boston. I never expected to see, and it is still early in the season. Don't get me wrong, it is still very early in the season. But I never expected to see, Montreal 8-5-3 above Boston. That has a lot to do with Max Domi coming in and having 9 goals and 10 assists in 16 games played. He had 9 goals in 82 games played last year in Arizona. So even just the fact that he can get 9 goals in 16 games is huge. If he can continue this, that's going to greatly help Montreal because this is a tough division this year. You have talented teams like Tampa Bay and Toronto and Boston, who was also considered to be contenders. But right now, they're neck and neck with Montreal and Buffalo, which is a little weird because Buffalo is right behind Boston. They're tied with Boston for fourth place in the Atlantic with 18 points. However, I am very surprised that Florida has gotten off to such a slow start. Florida is a team that missed the playoffs last season by 1 point, I want to believe. So the fact that they're in dead last in the Atlantic, behind Ottawa, behind Buffalo, behind Montreal, and they have just had their first home win last night against Edmonton, and now they're 4-5-3. That's very surprising to me. Moving over into the Metro Division, the New York Islanders are in first, 8-5-2 with 18 points. This is a surprise to me, but I don't expect it to last, honestly, despite the fact that they have gotten off to a very strong start. But I don't expect it to last because you got teams like Washington, you have teams like Columbus, Philadelphia, and Pittsburgh, all trying to find their way right now. Pittsburgh is struggling right now. They've lost 3 games in a row. They've lost their 4 home games in a row. And in those games, they've been outscored 16-4. I don't really know what is going on with Pittsburgh because this team is one of the most talented offenses in the league. Maybe the rest of the league has caught up to Pittsburgh. I'm not sure. But who knows? Pittsburgh I don't know. I expected Pittsburgh, after losing to Washington, to come out with a really hot start. And it looked like they did in the first few games, but like I said, in the last 4 games, they really struggled. But anyways, Washington is in second place in the Metro, 7-4-3 with 17 points. Washington is going to be fine this year. They've kept pretty much their entire roster the same. But they have had a little ups and downs in this season so far, which is expected. A Stanley Cup hangover is always expected, especially when it was such a big one as the Capitals' first one. Third place is Columbus with 17 points. Fourth place is Philadelphia with 17 points. And then it goes Carolina with 16. Sixth place is Pittsburgh with 15 points. Like I said, Pittsburgh is in a little bit of a struggle right now. I'm not too. I am a little surprised, but I'm not too surprised because Pittsburgh the past few years has struggled in the beginning of the seasons. The New York Rangers are in seventh. I expected the Rangers to be in seventh or eighth in this division all year long. They're in a little rebuild right now. However, they have won 4 games in a row, which is it's always good when you're winning 4 games in a row. And then a little surpriser here, the New Jersey Devils are in 8th place in the division. They came out to a fast start. I want to say they were 4-0. And then what happened is they went 1-5-0 on the road and 3-6-1 in their last 10. And they've only really seemed to be able to get wins at home. 5 of their 6 wins are at home. You need to be able to win on the road. Like I said with Toronto, they're 6-0. That has a huge deal when it comes time later in the season. So they need to figure out a way to be able to win on the road. The East, I have to say, is very talented. There are teams that we expected to be very strong that are in a little bit of a struggle right now, which is completely normal. Give it a week, give it 2 weeks. Who knows? Maybe even give it a month, and this whole standings could look a lot different. Moving over into the Western Conference, we got the Pacific Division and the Central Division. I'm going to go with the Pacific Division first. Vancouver. I did not expect it to be this good after the Sedin twins retired, after the season they had last year. I expected Vancouver to have a few seasons where they were not that good, but it is greatly rooted in Pettersson, the rookie, having 10 goals and 7 assists so far. I want to say he's on pace for about 76 goals this season. That would be a really good rookie season. That would probably be the best rookie season in a while. Despite, just think about it. Ovechkin led the league last year in 50 goals, and I don't expect him to get 76 goals. That's not what I'm saying. But the fact that we're 17 games into the season and he has 10 goals, that's very good for a rookie. In second place is Calgary with 19 points. I have expected Calgary to be good this year. They have a good core group of players. They have a group of veterans that can lead this team. However, they are being outscored 21-9 in the second period. But they are outscoring their opponents 31-12 in the third period or overtimes. So they're proving that they can outscore opponents late in the game when it matters. However, that gives me a little bit of a nervousness because being outscored 21-9 in the second period isn't good. You're not always going to be able to come back just because you can outscore people in the third or overtime. In third place is San Jose, 8-5-3 with 19 points. San Jose, they've had a lot of signings this offseason. Contract extensions with Kane. They're trying to keep this team together because they know that they have a group of guys that can get deep into the playoffs. They brought on Erik Karlsson. This is a team I feel give them the first at least few months of the season just to get into groove with each other, just to get going good. And if they can stay healthy, that's even better because that's even less of shit they have to handle. But just give them time, and that team will be good. That team is good. I think they have a lot of new faces, and they need to get some chemistry together. And I expect them to be in first or second in the Pacific Division. And fourth is Edmonton. I hope that Connor McDavid can at least get this team into the last 2 spots in the playoffs. He's got 10 goals and 13 assists so far. I always just love seeing Edmonton in the playoffs. I feel Edmonton is a team with their history that they should be in the playoffs every year. And they haven't had a deep run into the playoffs in a long time. So I hope to see that. And fifth is Anaheim with 17 points. And sixth is Arizona with 15 points. And then we're going to a little surprise this year, but many people expected it. 7th place, Vegas with 7-8-1 with 15 points. Vegas made it to the Stanley Cup Finals last year, and with their core team staying intact, with the addition of Max Pacioretty, with the addition of Stastny, many people expected this team to be number one in the West, number two in the West, right up there. However, they are struggling early in the season. They have plenty of time to figure it out. They have a few injuries that they need to get guys back on, but I feel like they'll be fine. I do not expect them to be like they were last year, but they will be better than seventh in the Pacific. I can tell you that. I can tell you one thing, though. I do not expect the Kings to be better than eighth in the Pacific because they've lost quick indefinitely, and they're 5-9-1 with 11 points. I feel this team is just. They have a lot of veterans, but I'm worried that those veterans are over the hill and too far over the hill in this day and age. The Central Division is an extremely talented division with a lot of teams that at any point could go on a run. You have Nashville in first place, 12-3-0, defending President's Trophy winners, if that even means anything. They are undefeated, 7-0-0 on the road. So them and Toronto can have proven that they can go on the road and win this year. In the last 10, they're 8-2-0, so they are just as hot as Tampa Bay is in the last 10. And they have the best goal differential in the league of plus 20. Minnesota is second with 20 points. Minnesota has proven that they can win games this year so far. If they can keep it up, I don't expect them to miss the playoffs. They have a team that can make the playoffs. Dallas is in third place. They're off to a solid start for what I expected Dallas to be. However, Sagan just signed an 8-year contract in this offseason. And in the last 13 games, he has 1 goal. That's not good. Sagan and Ben are the two leaders of this team. Those two need to pick it up, and those two need to carry this team if this team wants to go anywhere. Fourth place is Winnipeg, 8-5-1. They're still trying to find their stride, I feel. Laine did go over to Finland and light it up, which I love to see. So I hope that can give them some momentum coming back. I like seeing Winnipeg doing well. As much as sometimes I don't like Winnipeg, I like seeing Winnipeg do well because, like I said, Winnipeg is also like a team like Edmonton where, with their history, I just like seeing them doing well. Colorado is in fifth place, 7-5-3. This team has arguably the hottest line in the league right now. They have like over 50 points combined between the three of them. If this line can keep it up and their goaltending can stay solid, I expect to see this team back where they were last year, if not better. Chicago is in sixth, 6-7-3 with 15 points. They have lost the last 4 games. And after they lost the first 3 of those 4 games, they decided to fire Joel Quenneville, who won them 3 Stanley Cups after 49 years without winning a Stanley Cup. I don't understand this at all. I don't. He's brought you 3 Stanley Cups, and then they get swept by Nashville in the 2017 playoffs in the first round as the number 1 seed in the West. And you say, okay, that should not have happened. And then last year they finished last in Central. So they have not had a strong past few seasons. However, they aren't off to a terrible start. It could be much worse, and I feel all of Chicago is in an uproar about this firing because I just don't feel it should have happened right now. This isn't a point where I don't know. This isn't a point where you say we're going to fire the coach that just won us 3 Stanley Cups. It's not. I don't think so. However, we'll see where this goes for Chicago. I expect this to completely just ruin whatever Chicago could have turned this season into, honestly, because I can only imagine as players like Taves, Kane, and like veterans like them, Crawford, they can't be feeling good right now. And then in last place in the Central is St. Louis, 5-5-3 with 13 points. They do have a few more games to play to catch up to the rest of the teams this division. So who knows? They could move a few spots up. But many people expected St. Louis to be high in this league this year, and I just couldn't see it. Yes, they made some moves this offseason that were good to their roster, but I just don't see St. Louis doing it this year. I just don't. And I honestly expected St. Louis to be in the bottom three in this division. And so far this season, they've had their good moments, they've had their bad moments, but they've had about the same of each. So they're going to need to pick it up if they want any hope this season. Moving into the special teams so far this year, because that is huge this year. There are a few interesting things that I want to discuss with special teams. In the power play, Washington Capitals are first, 34%. Winnipeg second, 33.3%. St. Louis is 30.8% in third. And Boston is fourth with 30.6%. I never expected to be saying that Boston had a top 5 power play, but that is one aspect of the game that they are doing good in so far. Pittsburgh, who has in the past few years had a very dominant power play, is 10th with 23.8, and then Nashville, who has also had a very dominant, is right now 30th with 13%. If Nashville needs to improve their special teams all around if they want to keep this going, because special teams is such a huge aspect of the game. If you cannot score on power plays, then you're wasting penalties. If you can't defend a penalty kill, then you're never going to win games, because you're bound to take a few penalties in the game, and if that means almost every penalty you're getting scored on, that's not good. So Nashville needs to improve their power play. They have more than enough talent to improve their power play. On the penalty kill, Arizona leads the league with a 91.1% kill rate. Tampa Bay is second with a 90.2%. San Jose is third with 86.8%. Montreal, fifth with 84.2%. That is huge. That is one of the reasons I feel that Montreal has been able to do the way that they've done this year, because they've been able to kill penalties that they're taking. 20th is Boston at 77.5%, and Nashville is 21st with also 77.5%. These two teams are often considered contenders this year, and top of the league, top 5, top 10 teams easily. Nashville is probably top 3, top 2 teams. And the fact that Nashville's special teams is not performing well is a little scary. Washington, even worse, 25th in the league, 74.5% kill. Washington, this is one aspect of their team that they need to improve on if they want to have any hope of defending their title. Points, this is going to be interesting because we see a few guys that are all on the same team in points. You got Rantanen with 24, McKinnon with 22. And Rantanen is first in the league, McKinnon is third in the league. The fact that you have 2 guys of the top 3 guys in points on one line is going to propel Colorado much further than the rest of their team ever could. McDavid is second in the league with 23 points. Shabbat is 22nd in the league, is 4th in the league with 22 points. And then you go Kane from Chicago with 21, Bergeron with 21, and Malkin with 20. One guy that's not in any point leader category right now is Sidney Crosby. In goals, Patrick Kane, Ovechkin, and Pastrnak and Meyer all have 12 goals. These 4 guys, they have great seasons so far. So is McKinnon, Landeskog, and Skinner, who have 11 goals. If they can keep it up, this is going to be very good for a goal leader race. Much better than last season. I hope that our goal leader can get at least 50 goals this season. And plus minus, this is weird. It's really weird. And the top 7 guys, you have 5 guys from the same team. Ekholm, Johansson, Ellis, Sissons, Forsberg. That right there, I feel, just shows you that those 5 guys are out there so much for the points that maybe the bottom of the team needs to start also scoring some goals, because Johansson, Forsberg, Sissons, Arvidsson, they can't carry Nashville the entire season. the entire playoffs. They have the talent in the bottom two lines to do it. Those bottom two lines need to step up. In goaltending, defending Vezina Trophy winner Pekka Rinne is leading everything. You have him leading the goals against with 1.55 and save percentage with .949. And then going back to goals against, Halak from Boston is second in the league with a 1.96 goals against average, which is ridiculous, if you ask me. The whole goaltending situation in Boston is pretty hilarious because the day that they signed Halak, I told a lot of people he's going to give Rask some problems because anytime that Halak can play, he's going to do good, especially like in this opportunity with Boston. Anytime he's given the opportunity to play, he's going to do good, and he's done that. And Rask has not performed well this year. He's 4-4-0, and he has only got a goals against average of 3.05 a game with a save percentage just above .901. And he also has a few days off for personal matters coming up. So I wonder how much his head is a little iffy right now with his performance or what is going on in his personal life. I do hope that everything is fine in his personal life, but Halak has shown that he can perform. Even in save percentage, Halak is a .936, fourth in the league. If Halak can keep this up, why would you put a goalie who's performing much better and in the same amount of games on the bench? I don't know. Interesting. You got the Pittsburgh goaltending situation. DeSmith has 2.22 goals against average. He, I feel, is the starting goaltender in Pittsburgh right now. Saros, the backup in Nashville, has a goals against average of 2.49, and that is 14th in the league. So the fact that Nashville's two goalies both are in the top 15 in the league for goals against average is huge. And they have played, Saros has played more games than Rinne. Saros has played 8 games. Rinne has played 7 games. Rinne did start 8 games, but he was pulled halfway through because he suffered a concussion, and he missed a few games, which is where Saros stepped up and went 6-2-0. Saros has a save percentage of .917 as well. The guy in Vegas that was unbelievable in the postseason last year, he has a goals against average of 2.51. Not that good. 15th in the league, but for a guy that was on fire last playoffs in the late season, he's struggling a little bit. He's got to step it up a little bit. And then going to San Jose for a second, you have their goalie, Jones. He has a goals against average of 2.84, 22nd in the league. I feel this is a little bit of the team's struggle as they're allowing more goals. Obviously, this is a struggle. They're allowing more goals than they're putting in the net. But this is one stat that Jones needs to take it down. He needs to bring it back down to around 2 at least if his team wants to be in the contender category moving forward. Fleury, Rinne, Kincaid, and Halak lead the league with 2 shutouts apiece. Yes, Halak also has 2 shutouts. I don't know what to expect moving forward with a lot of this, but I like this season so far. This season is very entertaining with a lot of surprises. I will be going live next week on Thursday, so check out the next episode of Inside the Ice from Game Changer Sports Network. You guys enjoy your weekend. Have a great